Ayy, look, yeah, ayy. I'm in the lab like Dexter, brand new batch he tested. I'm with all the extras, don't try and bitch, I'm pressure. I'm the type to step on steppers, I'm the type to step on steppers. I'm the type to step on steppers, I'm the type to step on steppers.
So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Today we're going to be talking about Golden State. The Golden State Warriors currently sit at the 6th seed with a record of 39-37. They're one of the best home teams in basketball, sitting at a record of 30-8. But for some odd reason, when these guys go on the road, they just can't seem to win basketball games, and their record is 9-29. So that's the main reason why these guys are sitting at the 6th seed right now. And so, with everything that they've gone through this entire season, losing Steph for a little bit, Klay Thompson, Draymond, and now the Andrew Wiggins this past month, is the Warriors dynasty over?
They're definitely in a scarier position than they were last season. Of course, last season they had many doubters regarding whether they can win a championship, and a lot of people had written them off. But even at that point, they were still the number 3 seed. They had won 53 games last season. And at this point in the season, they're in a dogfight to just remain into the playoffs and stay within a top 6, top 7 seed. And it is a combination of injuries to Steph Curry. Klay Thompson early on the season was struggling when he was getting back into rhythm. Andrew Wiggins has had extended absence, from the team for about a month now. And it seems like a lot of injuries are just piling up for the Warriors, and the road issues something that's just so uncharacteristic. It feels like in the past, Warriors, whenever they just go on the road, they would just beat you at your home. It's a guarantee that they were going to leave season series at least winning one game at your house. But now it feels like whenever this team goes on the road, defensively is where they've just been utterly just terrible this season. Even at home, there are stretches where you've seen struggles without guys like Andrew Wiggins and Gary Payton, who made his return. But still, even at this point of the season, I wouldn't say that the Warriors dynasty is necessarily over. I mean, last season people echoed stuff like that, and of course they won the championship, but it is looking scary for this team. You always will have a guy like Steph Curry, who's a top 5 player in this league. And, Klay Thompson, he's been better this season, especially since the new year. I think he's averaging like 24 since the new year started. But without guys like Andrew Wiggins and Gary Payton, who are your wing defenders or who are going to be guarding other teams' best players, you're simply not going to win games at this rate. And to be in a dogfight, of course, if I'm a team that's a 3rd or 4th seed, I don't want to see the Warriors in the first round just because of that championship experience. But at this point, with Draymond aging, Klay Thompson, he's getting up there in age, and Steph as well, it is looking towards the direction that the Warriors dynasty is coming to an end, because early on this season, they had the double timeline, a whole rebuild that they had going on, and now they got rid of that. But outside of the 5, what can the Warriors do? So I wouldn't say that their dynasty is over, but it is headed in that direction.
I do believe this dynasty is about to come to an end, to be honest. I mean, you got to look at the main 3 core guys, with Curry sitting at 35, Draymond, I'm not too sure how old is he, 33, 34? They're all around the same age. Klay Thompson's in that same area. And then, with GP2 struggling with injuries and him finally coming back today, but they're still missing Wiggins. We don't know Wiggins' outcome. And then Abdi already spoke about their, road games. 9 for 23. Was it 9 for 23?
9 for 29.
9 for, that's even worse. 9 for 29. It all goes back to the defensive side of the ball and the turnovers. This year, for me, it completely looks different. Last year defensively, they were fantastic in the second half. They didn't turn the ball over much, but this year's a whole completely different story. And I feel like it all goes back to, Draymond Green punching Jordan Poole. It all comes back to that. You feel me? I feel like, then it started off, people, no trust issues. Draymond, Jordan Poole, they're not trusting each other, going back and forth. You got a little rift in the locker room. People are looking at Draymond like, hey, man, what you doing to the young guy? This guy just helped us win the finals. How you going to punch your own teammate? You're supposed to look at him like a little brother. Feel like it all starts off from there. And then you go into the rift of the double timeline. And, how can you plug in these young guys? How can you plug in Wiseman early on in the season, see if he can fit with this offense, or Kuminga or Moody? They had a lot of guys that, they missed a lot of vets from last year that walked from that team. So for me this year, them, sitting 9-29 on the road, sitting 6th seed right now in the deep West, I feel like any team got an opportunity to knock them out. I don't think this Warriors team, I mean, I'm not gonna say they don't stand a chance. I feel like if they do get Wiggins back, they can turn it on in the playoffs and they can fix that defensive problem quick. But as of right now, for me, I don't know. So to me, I feel like this dynasty is coming to an end, especially with your star player Curry sitting at 35. Draymond, who knows if he walks next year, and Klay Thompson, like I've been said, first half of the season bad, second half of the season he's playing better. So for me, well, it's tough. I do believe it. They're gonna come to an end. I feel like this dynasty is nearing the last probably year or two where they can, get another trophy. But other than that, for me, that's it. So we'll see what happens this year. I feel like, getting GP2 back, great defender. If they can get Wiggins back, that's another great defender. Maybe their problems do get fixed. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, to speak about the Warriors season entirely, one word that would sum it all up best would be, disappointing. The reigning champs to come into this year pretty much with the same constructed roster. You lost a couple of guys like Otto Porter, and you lost GP2, but you were able to get him back. Not many moving pieces in the offseason for the Warriors. They acquired Dante DiVincenzo, who I believe is one of the best free agent acquisitions in recent history for this franchise. He's a pretty big help for this team, but I just don't understand, the road struggles. Early on in the year, when they were losing games to Orlando and, Detroit, and Charlotte, it's okay because it's the beginning of the season. But right now we're in the month of March, and these guys have a record of 9-29 on the road. So my concerns don't necessarily lie with the Warriors dynasty. It's just more so, are these guys capable enough to win a road playoff game? Winning a road playoff game is a must in every playoff series. Obviously, the Warriors being the 6th seed, they're not going to have home court advantage throughout the entire postseason. So, these guys are going to have to start off postseason runs on the road, games 1 and 2. So are these guys, willing to take on the challenge and, still a game on the road and then head back home, where they're pretty much flawless. These guys know how to win and defend home court like no other. These guys, have one of the best home court records in all of basketball. So that's for, a good reason. These guys just tend to play great basketball in front of the home crowd. But my concerns are just truly, it just lies on, whether or not these guys are going to be able to, put it all together and win a road playoff game. Because when you look at, the Warriors and their championship experience, a lot of their runs, when they won the chip, they had to go on the road and steal a couple of road games. We saw it in Denver. We saw it in Memphis. We saw it in, Boston. We saw it in Dallas. So I just don't know if the Warriors right now, with the way this roster is constructed, I just don't know if these guys are capable enough to win that road playoff game that they need to win. But in order and to go back to like the main discussion, the main topic, whether or not I believe that their dynasty run is over, not necessarily, because the way I look at it right now is, I'm looking at the Western Conference, and I'm looking at all these top teams. You have the Denver Nuggets. I think the Warriors match up pretty well with them. The Clippers, I feel like they match up well with them as well. The Phoenix Suns are a team that's kind of iffy right now because I've seen the Warriors play the Denver Nuggets. I've seen them play the Clippers. So I know what the games are going to look like. The Warriors, they can defend the Clippers a little differently when Russell Westbrook's out on the floor. It's pretty much 5-on-4 basketball. Although Russell Westbrook is starting to find his way with the Clippers, I think I'd give the Warriors the edge there. But then I go ahead and look at a team like the Denver Nuggets, who, they have Jokic, Jamal Murray, and Michael Porter. But, when they put Jokic in a billion pick and rolls, Steph Curry and guys like Jordan Poole can attack on that. But if they play a team like the Suns, who I haven't seen them match up with yet, with Kevin Durant, it's a completely different look. So, I feel like with Andrew Wiggins coming back, or when he comes back, or if he comes back, I think it gives him the best shot to win within these next couple of years. But for the next maybe 3 to 5 years, I'm not too sure if the Warriors, have that type of gas left in the tank to go ahead and kind of run the table again like they did back in like 2015, where if they went like 5 straight finals runs and they capped it off with 3 championships. I just don't think they have that left in the tank. But I think within these next 2 to 3 years, they can probably squeeze out one more championship, and I think that's where they call the wraps. But hopefully, Andrew Wiggins, he's been out since pretty much February 14th. If he's able to come back, I think, the Warriors still have the best shot at winning the championship, or at least coming out of the West, because obviously you have teams like Boston coming out of the East, or teams like Milwaukee, and those 2 teams are, the top 2 teams in the Eastern Conference. So right now, I don't think their dynasty run is over. But do I believe they can run the table like they did back in 2015? Not necessarily.
Record a new hit, then we making us a film. Wouldn't sign a deal if I got a couple mil. Been in the lab, now they throwing out deals. Me and now H, now that's overkill.